Okay, so moving on here, we're getting some really good results with our snow here. I'm pretty happy with it. There's a few more things that I'd like to touch up on before we kind of really start finalizing and wrapping this up. And I'm thinking about adding some of that edge flash to our foreground here because we got still kind of some hard edges, and I wouldn't mind getting some sort of light fall off or kind of this environment lighting kind of wrapping around what we have here. So with that, I'm going to choose our layer and go to our effects and then to sapphire and then edge flash. And I'm just going to kind of work in some of the settings that we've been playing around with all along here. So I'm going to select my landscape and then I'm going to change that to our foreground. And then let's just kind of zoom in here, quick look. And it looks like it's working pretty okay. You can see if you kind of look here, it's adding some of that rim light along the edges here. And so that's good. I think it's a good result. We could probably even bump this up maybe a little more just to ensure that we're getting something good. I was just a little, there were some hard edges around there. I was just kind of, I wanted to dumb down a little bit, and the edge flash works fantastic for that. And then, one other thing that I'm going to do just to kind of help our process here is I'm just going to add a curves and just a little bit of contrast just to our foreground. Oh, don't want to do that. Just subtly. And you know what, later on we'll definitely be toying around more with that, but I just kind of want to get an idea of what we're looking at. Another thing that's thrown me off is kind of our background plate here. And this is just it's pretty blue, and nothing's really kind of matching up here, so it's just kind of part of the process to kind of blend this all together. So I'm just going to go back to the effects tab and color correction and just grab a hue saturation, and we're just going to bring that down just ever so slightly, maybe not, maybe halfway. It's a pretty monochromatic scene, so yeah, that looks a little better. And just to top it off for now, let's add in just a quick blur, just kind of get some Gaussian in there, and just jump that up to 1, and it's just going to help kind of dull some of the sharpness that's happening there. Okay, now one thing that I really kind of want to start working into our scene here is getting some more particular in here, just to get some fog going. And what I'm going to do is basically just take our blowing snow, and I'm just going to Control D and duplicate that. And I'm just going to actually bring that down to the bottom and rename it. We're just going to call this fog, and we're going to solo that out. And we're just going to kind of change our settings here a little bit. We drop our particles down to about 150. Everything else so far looks pretty good. Maybe drop our velocity down to 30. And once again, something like this is definitely going to be, it's trial and error until it really looks right. So I'm going to change that to 5, my life per second. And we're going to change our particle type to cloudlet. And you will see why if you are not familiar. And I am, just from experience, I'm dropping my opacity from 100 down to 1, and you'll see why. Because we are going to crank up our size here, and you'll see that we're getting some pretty good results when it comes to our fog here. So we have a pretty good idea of what we're getting here, and so I kind of want to just dumb down just kind of the emitter size, kind of thin this up a little bit here. And then we'll want to continue down to our physics tab here. And one thing that I did do in regards to the random to our snow layers here is that I did have our motion blur turned on. And so that's one thing that we want to make sure we do not want on for our fog, because it's moving ever so slightly, so we really don't need to worry about calculating that data. Our spin amplitude, probably drop this down And let's see, our wind, along our Y, probably bring that up in the negative, but just a little bit, just so we can get a little bit of that uplift there. And I don't know, we might want to do a RAM preview because, we're still going to want our fog to definitely drift from left to right, but maybe pushing away kind of like how the snow is. So let's just do a quick preview and just kind of see what we've got going on here. All right, we got a quick preview going on. And it looks pretty okay. It may be a little too abrupt in the movement, but I kind of like how we're getting some foreground fog, and then you get kind of the perspective with the background there. Maybe I'm going to kind of slow down our wind here a little bit, maybe bring that to 175, just to kind of get an idea. So that's a little better. Just did a quick preview, just a second's worth. And I like that. It's pretty subtle. It's not too crazy. One thing we're going to want to be careful of is, with the fog and then considering how white our environment is, we're going to try to find, it's going to be a fine balance, so nothing gets too washed out. And I think that's kind of where the magic of working in some contrast and colors and whatnot. So let's do a quick preview, kind of turn everything on here, render out a quick second or two, and just kind of get a feel of what we're doing, and we can have a better idea of where we're lying here. So we got a couple seconds worth of preview here, and it's giving us a pretty good idea of the motion of how this atmosphere is moving, and I like it. I think it looks really good. There's definitely probably a few things that I could go back and kind of tweak. Some of the blowing snow, I think we could probably ramp up some of the velocity just to get a little bit more movement out of it. But all in all, I think it looks pretty good. Like I said, my biggest concern would be the atmosphere kind of against our background plate here. So, one thing that we could probably do is go into our landscape, our plate here, and, just kind of maybe add in just some levels, depending, or some curves, I'm sorry. And then, we can just kind of help that out a little bit there.